This is a video about how to do the paper for Unit 4, um, starting in week 7 of Essentials. And to show you how to do this, I have written my own article with the help of ChatGPT, if I'm being completely honest, about Texas. And I am going to write an article summary. I am going to use this as a reference article, an article that's teaching me about Texas. And I'm going to choose some of the information and I'm going to write about it in my own article. This first article that I'm reading is a little bit long. It's a full page. It has a lot of facts in it. And my goal is I only want to choose 5 to 7 facts that are the most interesting or the most important to me. And I'm going to choose to write them in the paper. Now, the really important thing to keep in mind is that this is all about what I think is interesting and what I think is important. So even if you read this with your mom, or if you have a little sister who's listening to you, and then you start saying what you want to write in your summary, and they might say, well, that doesn't matter. You should write this, or you should include that. Doesn't matter what they think. You get to decide what you think is interesting and what you think is important. So the first step is always we need to read the reference. So I'm just going to read it. All about Texas. Texas is a big state in the southern part of the United States. It is the second largest state in the country, both in size and population. The capital city of Texas is Austin, but the biggest city is Houston. Texas is known for its cowboys, rodeos, and ranches where people raise cattle. Many people also love to visit Texas to see its beautiful deserts, forests, and beaches. One of the most famous places in Texas is the Alamo, where a big battle happened a long time ago. Texas used to be its own country before it became part of the United States. People in Texas are very proud of their state, and they love to cheer for their sports teams like the Dallas Cowboys and the Houston Astros. The weather in Texas can be very hot in the summer, but some places in Texas also get snow in the winter. Texas is also famous for its food, like barbecue and Tex-Mex, which is a mix of Texas and Mexican food. Many people in Texas speak both English and Spanish. Texas has a lot of animals like armadillos and longhorn cattle, which have long, pointy horns. It also has many big cities with tall buildings, but it has quiet, wide-open spaces too. People come from all over the world to visit Texas. The Texas flag has one big star on it, which is why Texas is called the Lone Star State. So I've just read the reference. Now I am going to choose 5 to 7 facts that I think are interesting or important. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a highlighter, although I don't have a highlighter, so I'm just using a yellow marker, and I'm just going to highlight them. And I thought it was interesting that it was the second largest state in the country. That's one of my facts. I thought that it was interesting that it was known for its ranches. I'll say cowboys, rodeos, and ranches. I'll do that whole part. I'll say that, let's see, it's hot in the summer, but some places can get cold in the winter, because that surprised me a little bit. I thought this fact was interesting, that many people in Texas speak both English and Spanish. And I thought it was interesting that it's called the Lone Star State because of the flag. Let's see how many that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I've got 5 facts. I could choose more, but frankly, I just want to keep this short, so I'm going to only choose 5 facts. So after I choose 5 facts, I am going to make my outline, and we call it a keyword outline, a K, word, W, outline, or a KWO. We'll talk about KWOs all the time. And a keyword outline is just a plan. It's like a blueprint for how I'm going to end up writing my article. Now, I don't like writing with my hand. It takes so much work, so much time. So I don't want to copy all of these sentences over here And if I copied them exactly to make my notes for how I'm going to write the paper, I probably would end up just using the words from this paper and not my own words. And that's called plagiarizing. Whenever you summarize something, you have to make sure it goes into your own words. And so one of the ways that you can do that is that you can take notes on it, like just jotting down little symbols and words, um, key words from the article instead of writing out the whole thing. So that's what we're going to do. The first thing, the first line, oh, and there's some rules for the keyword outline, and that is only, and these are just rules that Institute for Excellence on Writing uses. So only 3 words per line. And we're going to have between 5 and 7 lines because we're using 5. So 1 fact per line, 3 words per line, and then can use symbols if you can draw them faster than it would take you to write the word. So if you're going to draw a really elaborate drawing, you can't use the symbol. So I'll show you kind of what that means as we go along. Now, IEW has a bunch of different units. The first unit is just learning how to make a keyword outline. The second unit is learning how to turn it into a paper. The third unit is creating a different kind of a keyword outline for stories that we call a story sequence chart. And now we're in unit 4. So there is one new skill for this unit, and that is that we're going to have a topic. We're always going to name the topic on the first line of our keyword outline. So you always start your keyword outline writing the Roman numeral 1. And if you have your writing book, sometimes it's going to be filled in like this already. And sometimes it's going to be blank like this. So we're going to write the Roman numeral 1, and then we're going to write a topic. And what is the topic of this article? What is this about? Well, it's about Texas, but I kind of want to make notes to turn it into a statement. Like, what is the topic that I want to say? Texas, I think I might say that Texas is an amazing state. So Texas is an amazing state. I'm going to put a comma between each word in my keyword outline. And I only used 3 words. I didn't use any symbols in this line, so that's good. So that's going to be my topic. That's kind of going to be how I start my paper. After my topic line, I am going to have between 1 and 5 facts. So I'm going to have 5 more lines, between 5 and 7. So I might have 6 or 7 here as well, but I'm just going to do 5 on mine. You might, when you do it, you might do 5, you might do 6, you might do 7. That's okay. But we're aiming for between 5 and 7 per paragraph. So the first fact that I want to write about, Texas is an amazing state. And then I want to say that it's the second largest in the U.S. Let's see. I'm going to say, I think I am. I didn't originally highlight this, but I think I am going to include that as part of my fact. And I'm going to say in size, let's see, size. So this second here, this counts as a symbol, or it's a number, so it doesn't count. An abbreviation doesn't count as a word. So I'm going to actually write the word size, and I'm going to draw two people for population. So see how it took me so fast to just draw those 2 little people? That's faster than I could write the word population, so that's a good symbol. If I drew a whole lot of people and it took me forever, and then it would take longer than to write the word population, so that doesn't count. All right, the next fact is known for. Actually, I don't want to say known for. I want to say, because I want to use my words, I want to say it's famous for cowboys, rodeos, and I'm gonna draw a fence for ranches because I already used 3 words. I can't use another word, so I need to come up with a symbol if I want to say ranches and remember it. So it's famous for its cowboys, its rodeos, and its ranches. And hopefully I'll remember that. And that was another fast symbol that I drew. The next fact is I'm going to say hot, and I'm just going to draw a sun for the summer and hope that I remember that. And I'm going to say it can be, instead of saying it's snow in the winter, I'm going to say some places, I'm just going to write some cold, and then winter I'm going to draw a snowflake, and very fast snowflake. Okay. So hot in the summer, and some places are cold in the winter. I'm going to remember that. It doesn't matter if you have great symbols, as long as you know what they mean, that's good. If you draw a symbol and then later you realize you don't know what it meant, then that wasn't a good symbol. So it gets hot in the summer, but some places get cold in the summer. I'm going to say it is close to Mexico. Oh, wait, no, that doesn't actually say this. So one important thing too is when you are summarizing a reference, I know that Texas is close to Mexico, but it doesn't say that in the article, so I can't use it here. I only can include the facts that are in the article. And especially if you know a lot about Texas, you might think, oh, I want to say more things, or I want to say different things. You can't. You can only say what was in the article. It's hot in the summer, but some places get cold in the winter. And then many people, so I'm going to do my people sign, many people in Texas, I'm going to say speak Spanish. I'm going to do quotes, Spanish, English. So I have 1, 2, 3 words. I have commas between all of my ideas. The Texas flag has 1 big star on it, which is why Texas is the Lone Star state. This is a proper noun. It's a name, the Lone Star State, so I can count that as 1 word. All right, so here is my keyword outline, and then down below it, I am going to write the word clincher to remind myself that I need to come back and write a clincher. Okay, so that is how I make my keyword outline. I choose 5 to 7 facts. I take notes on them. I'm not writing complete sentences. I'm just writing some words that will help me remember the ideas I want to write. I start with a topic sentence, and then I can use some symbols. I can use no more than 3 words per line. The next step after you make a keyword outline is you're going to test the outline by retelling it, the keyword outline. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that the notes I took were enough to remember what I wanted to say. So I'm going to just say my paper as though I'm telling it like a story. Texas is an amazing state. It is the 2nd largest state in the U.S., both in size and population. Or I might say a number of people that live there. It's famous for its cowboys, its rodeos, and its ranches. Whew, thank goodness I remembered what that symbol was. Otherwise I might think fences, but it was ranches. In Texas, it's very hot in the summer, but some places get cold in the winter. A lot of people in Texas speak Spanish and English, and the Texas flag has a big star on it, and so they call it the Lone Star State. And I don't say anything for my clincher. Okay, I remembered everything. If I didn't remember something, if I was like, I have no idea what I meant when I wrote that, then I should go back to my paper and rewrite that part of the outline to make sure that my outline works to help me know what to write. And then it will be time to write my paper. I have given you a handout that shows you what MLA format looks like. But basically you'll have a heading over here that kind of says your name, the teacher's name, and the date. You'll have your title centered in the middle, but you're not going to write your title yet. And then you'll write your paper here, and we always skip lines. So I'm just going to start writing that thing that I just said. Texas is an amazing state. It is the second largest, I'm sorry that this phone is like wobbling, second largest state in the U.S., I'm going to say United States, based on size and population. Stop the wobbling. Population. It is famous for its cowboys, rodeos, and ranches. In Texas, it is very hot in the summer and in some places it gets cold and snows in winter. Some people, I want to say many people who live in Texas speak Spanish and English. On the Texas flag, there is one big star, and so Texas is called the Lone Star State. Now that I've written my whole paper based on my outline, it's time for me to write my clincher. The clincher is the last sentence. It's like your concluding sentence, and it needs to use 1, 2, or 3 key words or ideas from this first sentence. So whatever you wrote for your first sentence, some of those words you need to repeat here. So I've got Texas, amazing, and state. I'm going to say Texas is an amazing place to live or visit. I'm going to make that exclamatory. Then the last thing I do is I need to write my title, and the title needs to use 1 to 3 keywords from the last sentence. So we get our clincher sentence, our last sentence, from the first sentence, and then we get our title from the last sentence. So there's a nice pattern that reinforces this big idea that we're trying to communicate to our reader. And I'm going to title this Amazing Texas. Voila. After I have written my first draft like this, it is time for me to edit it and add in all of my dress ups. And the dress ups are going to, you get the list of dress ups that you need to include grows in every unit. Since I'm saying this is part of Unit 7, you'll find a checklist here. And in every paragraph, I need to add one of these things: an ly adverb, a who, which clause, a strong verb, and a because clause. And I'll make a different video that talks about that. Scratch that, I'll just do it now. So first I need to add an ly adverb. So that means I need an adverb that ends in ly. Let's see, so it's very hot, and I'm gonna say surprisingly, and surprisingly, so I'm gonna add this ly adverb. So In Texas, it is very hot in the summer, and surprisingly, in some places, it gets cold and snows in the winter. Now I need a who, which clause. So a who, what, which clause is a clause that adds more information about who, or using the relative pronouns who or which. So who live in Texas speak. This one, I can't exactly do that one, and I'm not going to explain why right now. Let's see. I'm going to say it is. Let's see on the notes. I'm going to say it is famous for its cowboys, rodeos, and ranches, which are enormous. So I'm adding more information about the ranches. It is famous for its cowboys, rodeos, and ranches, which are enormous. Okay, now I need to add a because clause. Let's see. Let's see. It gets cold, and many people who live in Texas speak Spanish and English because it is in the southern U.S. close to Mexico. And those are my three big things. Then I just need to check and make sure I don't say go or went, say or said, good or bad, big or small. And I don't think I said big. I said second largest, so that's good. So now that I have my draft, I can write or type my final draft. And that's it. That's how you write the paper.